Thank you so much for tuning into this special episode. It is a bonus episode because during my time here in Cancun, Mexico, where I've been for the last month almost, my friends over at Breezeway hosted their second annual Elevate virtual conference. And it's been super exciting to see them put this together for the second year in a row. And I've been honored to have moderated a panel for the second year in a row as well. So what I did is I asked them, can I take this session and make it a podcast episode for my audience out there that just maybe didn't get to tune in or didn't get to sign up and be a part of the conference? And they said yes. So this whole session is dedicated, this whole episode is dedicated to that session called How to Win and Influence Owners. And so you're going to hear Jeremy Gall, the founder of Breezeway, jump right in after this intro plays. And then once he gets through the intros, you're going to hear the great session that we had about owner acquisition, keeping owners, owner communication, you name it. Super important stuff. And thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you to Breezeway for allowing me to do this and create this bonus episode. And I hope you all enjoy. You're listening to Slick Talk, the hospitality podcast, a podcast for those who are in and around the hospitality industry who love, live, and breathe what they do. You can join us for candid and unscripted conversations with hospitality experts and founders as we go deeper into their personal stories while they're sharing their triumphs and trials that got them to where they are today. I'm your host, Will Slickers, and you're listening to an episode of Slick Talk, the hospitality podcast. Now, let's begin.
On to the next session. Thank you, everybody. It's been a jam-packed day. The nice thing about this is we're really forced to stay on schedule. So here we go. This is going to be a great one. How to win and influence owners. You know, we spend a lot of attention in the vacation rental industry on guests, rightfully so. But the owner experience is incredibly important. And we've got some great folks here on this panel who know a thing or two about it. And, you know, chatting with them about best practices on owner acquisition, importantly, retention, keeping the ones you really want. Maybe they'll even touch upon getting rid of, dare I say, getting rid of a few that you don't want. And how you can create lifelong owner relationships to elevate your brand and service. I'll quickly introduce the panelists, and then I'll let our moderator take it away. We've got Sheila McCracken from Tailor. Thank you, Sheila, for being here. She's been in the real estate and vacation industry for 25 years, many resort destinations. She found herself in the mountains of Maryland and currently resides as the GM for Tailor Deep Creek Vacations. Thank you. We've got Drew Brown from Island Time Hilton Head. He's co-founder of Island Time Hilton Head in Hilton Head, South Carolina, founded in 2019. Over 100 luxury vacation rentals and partnerships with owners, focused on the highest level of service for owners and guests. And Deb Furlong. Hi, Deb. Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
She's the Vice President Co-owner at Beach Getaways, an interior designer by trade, unique ability, combining attention to detail in this hospitality for an environment for guests and owners that leaves them feeling that Beach Getaways really went the extra mile for them. And I think this is a panel that knows a lot about owners and how to treat them and how to retain and attract them. Moderated by Will Slickers from Hospitality FM. Will, thank you very much for being here. He's the founder of Hospitality FM and Recreation Rentals. He's been, doing a lot of stuff with Marriott. He's an expert, in all things hospitality. Runs his own podcast and collection of them. Will, happy for you to moderate this, and I'll let you take it from here.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having all of us together. This is a good group, and I'm excited for the conversation. So we're going to dive right in because we want to go into value and good conversation. So I guess question number one for everyone is going to be, with more property managers and lower barriers to self-manage, have been placed a premium on owner acquisition and relations. So how have you seen expectations and behaviors of owner clients change over the last few years? Maybe even do a comparison of pre-COVID to COVID and the big boom in vacation rentals we're seeing now. So I'll let anyone grab the mic, and then we'll kind of go around the table from there.
Well, I'll share. We have seen owners pre-COVID and pre the big, all the excitement about short-term rental industry coming aboard, that everybody can see the great investment that it is. Pre that, owners were pretty willing to let us manage their properties. Now it's gone into more micromanage, especially the ones that is strictly investment. They want to know what the nightly rate is. They want to know how often it's booking and how quickly it's booking. Why is it not booking quicker? And so it's a daily conversation with different owners. And so I would say the involvement has gone really high up with the owners. And not that you don't want to talk with them, but they need to let the professionals do their jobs that we're really good at. So
I would definitely agree with that. I think what we've seen here is that owners are used to the 2021 rental numbers, and they expect that to continue. Now that people are back in school, now that people are going back to work and not working so much remotely, even gas prices right now, things like that, people just aren't booking right now in advance like they used to be. So we are seeing a little bit of that shorter stays versus the week longs that they used to get. And owners just aren't understanding why they can't pull those numbers in the future.
Totally agree as well. I think for us, what we've also seen is, you pre-COVID, they relied on our expertise a little bit more, and now also there was, I'm sure in every market it's different. We've also seen in our market a huge amount of sales. So you do see, a large amount of transition, and you see those rental numbers coming in. So it's more people that have to manage that. One thing that we have kind of implemented is we have kind of, before we really launch the property, we do a what we call an asset management strategy meeting. So we basically try to set some expectations for the homeowner in terms of performance, because one of the things too is you put together projections and then they say, great, well, we're going to use 8 weeks. And do you really understand the value of those 8 weeks? And do you understand that's going to impact your bottom line? The level of communication is, before you would have monthly statements and occasionally emails from homeowners, and now it's emails and calls pretty much every day on a constant basis. So really just recommend having, some type of a communication strategy internally on who's going to answer what, if it's not just one person, so that you can have a consistent, timely fashion in which you're responding to homeowners.
Something else to jump in there, I think that we're seeing here is, homes are getting used harder. People are cooking, people, over the past 2 years are staying inside, and the owner expects that house to look just like when they turned it over to you. And it's had more wear and tear on it in the past 2 years than it has in the last 10 years, probably. So that's a challenge we're seeing, is when an owner comes in, it might not, it might be used just a little bit more than normal. And aside from cleaning, that's probably one of our biggest things.
Well, that's really good. And I was going to ask on two things, kind of sub questions for it, because you all made comments about the daily communication. So one, how are you guys kind of handling that? Drew, you kind of mentioned picking an internal strategy of, who on the team is going to take on that challenge. But then also, do you think there's become, or maybe been created, a lot more of education for owners? So now they're seeing kind of behind the scenes of what property managers do, maybe not to the full effect, obviously, but more or less they're seeing more behind the scene now, then that's kind of making them kind of get more involved with the communications, with the property overall performance, all that stuff.
Yeah, great follow-up question, Will. And yes, so one of the things that we did was we created an FAQ, so that as we're looking at either onboarding an investor or onboarding a new owner, we used to share something like that with them if they would ask. Now it is literally something they have to have and basically sign off on, and saying, have you read this? Do you understand what cleaning is going to look like? Do you understand what inspections are going to look like? Breezeway has been a good tool for us, in that regard, to be able to share some of that information. But we want to make sure that they understand, so that we can try and cut off some of those questions at the pass before they really get there. Because it's an issue that it's a great way to say, Sheila, that there's a lot of micromanagement in it. And that's frankly the last thing that all of us want as professionals. So if there's any tools that you can create to try and kind of head off some of that, it's really helped us. It's definitely something I would recommend for those listening to this.
Yes.
Awesome. What about Deborah or Sheila? Did you guys have any other comments for the next question?
Well, I was just going to say, I just think the part about upfront talking to the owners, what the reality of renting your property really is. It's one thing if it's an investor, it's another thing if it's a second home. That person is going to get upset when they come in and it's not as clean as they want it to be, but they've had 50 guests in there since they were there. And people are not taking care of properties like they were, and a turnaround clean, you can't do a deep clean in between. And so I think that continual education is the most important thing. And the reminder to them that it is what's going to help them keep their property is the rentals. And so I think if we can help them have that expectation lowered, but be assured that we are watching it. And we use Breezeway as well. And that has been a big comfort to them to have that documentation of those inspections.
Yeah, one thing will, oh, sorry, go ahead, Deb.
On the communication side, we've been doing, we have a lot of different communications with our owners. We have the owner rep, that's their main contact. And then if I see an owner call and I try to just pick up the phone to say hi, and they can get me at any point in time. A lot of them copy me on their emails. So I just jump in with, numbers or something. But we have been doing since COVID owner Zoom meetings. We used to do owner coffee hour, and we never wanted to bring all of our owners in together, right? Because then you just start complaining about the negatives and not the positives. So we did these owner Zoom meetings and where they can send questions in, but they can't really talk to each other. And that's really been successful for TailorMade because Joe, Jody, and Chad are usually on them. So they see the faces of the company and they go through, if we have a change in our program because of COVID or new information that comes out, we do a monthly owner Zoom meeting. And we've had, I think, as many as 70 or 80 owners jump on at one time.
Nice.
So that's helped us through the process.
It's a great thought process. We do that, and we've also kicked around something similar to where we basically handle an annual owner meeting as well, Zoom owner meeting. And then I just saw Edward's question in the chat. So to answer your question, Edward, yes. So we basically say, here are our standards. Here's what we're looking for. Because one of the things I would want to just really, and Sheila was talking about it on the front end, when we talk to people now about renting their home, we make sure that they understand that it's a business, whether it's a rental home and they're only renting it for the summer, or if it's a year round, it's still a business. And we're the business professionals. We're going to guide and advise the best that we can. But that FAQ does answer a lot of those questions. But we also then created what we would call a guidebook. So it talks about all the different types of cleanings, type of inspections that we do, checklists that have it. And we share that with the homeowners prior to them coming on board so that they understand, one, this is how we're going to operate. This is the expectation that you can have for a service level. But then again, as these things happen, we can talk about, again, here's your guidebook. Here's, why does my deep clean cost 3 times the amount of a departure clean cost? Well, because as you can see, the inspection list is about 6.5 pages worth of things that are being done.
Yeah.
So again, trying to set a clear expectation, but really having them understand it's a business. And it's a business that we all do really well. We wouldn't be here if we didn't, but trying to use that level of communication to set a clear expectation in the beginning is very important. That's probably the biggest tool to retention is making sure people understand how you operate, because the majority of our business, frankly, is out of sight, out of mind. We a lot of these people won't be in their properties except for a few times a year. And the communication that you have for statements. So making sure that you're communicating that effectively is really important.
For sure. I love that. It's a good reference point. We have guidebooks for our guests. Why not have a guidebook for an owner, right? And since we're talking about communication, this is a great time to launch our poll question for the audience. So question is, how often do you communicate with your homeowners? And there's a couple poll options for your answer there. But while we're doing the poll, what are some type of ways your market, what are some type of ways that you market your brand and service value to acquire new owners? And this is a great kind of leeway or segue point from the last question, because we talked about keeping owners and retention, but how does this impact your growth and your obvious retention strategies? Because, you know, we all know that we have some of those difficult owners, and you'll probably see them. They're the ones that are communicating daily, if not multiple times a day. And so as you're trying to scale a business, because at the end, we all know on the vacation rental management side that it's good to have a solid portfolio, but you need to grow that portfolio. And that's actually, you know, like great companies like Vintory that are all about owner acquisition and property acquisition, but tying into the inventory growth and then current retention. What's your overall market brand? I'll let anybody go first.
Okay, so I'll go. So what we do, a big way that we get business is word of mouth. So right now there is a huge construction boom in our area, and we've got a great relationship with the contractors. They see what we do, they work on people's homes, and they just give us great reviews and testimonials. So as they're building a home, they go ahead and get them in touch with us. And then we'll go ahead and start marketing their home while it's under construction. And right now in today's world, you know, renters want they want something like they have at home or better. And that's what they want. So especially if the home is under construction and we start marketing that on the website, even though it may not be available for another 6 months or a year, we get a list started of people that want to book that home. So that has really helped us with our marketing techniques. And, you know, we just all in all have a great marketing department at Tailor made with virtual reality. And, you know, we tell them that we're on Airbnb and we're on VRBO and we're on Expedia, even though we might not want to be. But that's what they want to hear, because they think if they can do that themselves, they're going to make more money. But when they hear that rental companies also use those sites, so there's more competition out there, they seem to want to jump on board with us. And with that point, it's just really about creating that relationship with them from start to finish and making them feel warm and fuzzy with you from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Love that. I love that. And it kind of ties in, I guess, maybe to more education. They're learning more about what companies are doing, and then they see that it's not put your property on Airbnb and make $1 million a year type deal. It's a lot of work in the back end.
Yes.
And I guess maybe Deborah, for you, what's some unique marketing strategies that you guys are doing in order to kind of keep?
Well, I think the one unique thing that we have going for us is that we're locally owned and we live here locally. We're on the beach road. We're here for you. We answer the phone. You can get a hold of us. There are people that our cars are racing up and down the roads with our names all over it. And people notice that. They notice that we're here. We're here to be helpful. We've got HOA managers that refer people to us because they know we're in the properties taking care of things. So that's really helped us a lot. Because the owners will ask, who do you see here the most? And they say, well, Beach Getaways is always there. So it's really grown our company. And the past year, I think we've added over 100 properties. And some of that has been because some of the big companies in our area have sold out to the large companies. And so people want people that they can speak with and talk with. And we're here. We will answer the phone. We'll call them back. We'll answer their emails. We'll do whatever we need to do to gain their respect and trust. And plus, we're personally property owners. So we know what this is like to have been managed by somebody else. And now we're realizing people realize we know what we're talking about. So that's helpful.
I love that. Brand awareness inside the destination is key. So that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think for us, probably one unique thing, we do something very similar to both of those things. But if I would maybe have one thing to add is be very deliberate about your brand alignment. So for us, in terms of lining up with certain realtors, certain builders, certain contractors, so that when you identify as a company the type of inventory that you're after, you have to be in the market, the secondary markets that also produce that. So, as Sheila was saying, as homes are being built, we've aligned ourselves with certain luxury builders, certain realtors. On Hilton Head's a very small market. It's 5 miles wide by 12 miles long. There's 9,000 vacation rentals, and there's 1,000 licensed realtors. So it's not about being everything to everyone. It's about being very deliberate about who you choose to have your partnerships with, so that those people can depend on you and you can depend on them. So that, again, in that kind of internal brand awareness of your local market, the whole point is expertise, and that's what really kind of helps that word of mouth. Obviously you're going to always have to have campaigns to go out and try and obtain owners, but it's the same thing for our business. We were in a position where, we kind of started the company. I've been doing this for 20 plus years, and we started this company in 2019, and we have 110 clients in less than a couple of years. And it's one, because we do what we say, and we're going to say what we do, but also those key strategic partnerships. So I would definitely say for those listening, think about your brand alignment with local key partners. From realtors to, even for us, we're a beach destination, but we're getting the right catering companies, getting the right chefs, getting the right, boat charter companies, getting the right golf companies, those types of things. That's all something that aligns your brand and can allow for a certain level of proper visibility.
I love that. All very good points.
Great.
And I love that partnership play too on the
Well,
destination.
It's about the brand reputation too. And we just recently got a house because a homeowner was there and they were talking to our competitor, and our maintenance guy was plowing the driveway next door and they were stuck. So our maintenance guy went over, and helped them get out and plowed their driveway, and they had a baby in the car, and we got the house the next week. So, and it's all about the professionalism and the customer service that your team gives, not just to your homeowners, but anybody around.
I love that. Very good points. Very good points. All right. So next question is, every homeowner is different and comes with a different set of needs and communication preferences. Highlight and theme of this whole conversation seems to be about communication, which is true with homeowners. So how do you tailor your program to provide the best owner experience? Do you guys all do something differently? I know we all have email, text, and phone calls and other things, but is there a certain kind of owner communication platform or even tool that you guys love to leverage in order to really streamline that? And we'll start with, I'll just kind of pick random. Drew, we'll go with you.
So yeah, we do a lot through our PMS system. One thing that I would recommend if people aren't doing is to have a real kind of personal touch is we send booking notifications to all of our homeowners. So every time that the property is booked, we show them what the overall revenue is in the time frame. It also helps snuff out issues if they have questions on rates. Because you can obviously have a conversation right at the time of booking versus them seeing on a statement and coming back to you and having issues. But one of the things that we really do is in terms of tailoring to their needs, part of that FAQ and the owner guidebook that we have is we literally have what we call a new client information sheet. And that the whole point of that is to make sure that we get all of their vendors that they want, make sure that we've got all the right information. So when we put it into our system, but we literally sit down and have a conversation with them about their communication needs. What's the best way? When you get a contract, it's going to have information on it, but what's really the best way for us to get a hold of them, in making sure that they do that. And then we use text platforms, and then we also use email platforms to do that as well. So that, really for us, we say we want to, tailor, the program to their needs so that they don't want for anything. So that's what we're really doing right now, but just really understanding how to get a hold of them, because you're going to have, I've got 18 different employees, a property manager is going to need to get a homeowner about a repair, reservations person is going to need to get a hold of them about a reservation, or a marketing person is going to need to get a hold of them about something else. So understanding really how they want us to be contacting them, so that you don't have to have the awkward conversation of, well, you called you called my husband, or you called my wife, or you called my work, or, you sent an email to this. You just want to understand how they want that. So that's probably an important process to make sure you guys are taking into account.
Exactly.
Awesome.
We similarly, we use our owner portals to communicate with our owners as well, especially those that are maybe 60 years and younger, that they're constantly looking at that for their reservations and everything. So I think that is a great tool to use with them. We also have a property care manager that is the owner liaison for each one, and she's just tailored for them to sit to be able to communicate with. And she asks that question: what's the best way to communicate with you? How do you like to be communicated with? And it's just frustrating, especially if you have the wrong email address or something entered in incorrectly, then it's just a disaster and it's just awful. So we've learned from a few mistakes like that, but I love that. I love what you said, Drew.
Awesome. How about you, Sheila?
So we do exactly the same thing. It's all about that relationship and asking them how they want to be managed, pretty much how they want to be involved. So we do use a texting platform. It's called Haymarket. And what that does, because a lot of our owner reps who are the main contact, they're hourly. So they might not check their email at 8 o'clock at night. But what happens is, like, I'm even involved in the Haymarket. So when you send an owner something in, or an owner sends something into one phone number, it'll pop up that it hasn't been seen yet. And then I can reply to it that night if it's something easy. So they have more of an instant communication than having to wait until 9 o'clock the next morning when that agent sits down and looks at their email. So that's been huge for us, because a lot of our owners are wanting text messages now as opposed to phone calls. So that's been huge, but it's just really about getting to know them. And it's just, hey, how do you want me to call you? And do whatever they want you to do. And if that doesn't work, then you try those other avenues.
Awesome.
It's a good tool.
I'm curious to maybe a sub question under it, and I know we're probably going to get booted out here soon, but do you guys set boundaries on when that communication level, like, do you gauge the importance of that? If you're getting a text at 8 or 9 o'clock at night, I would hope, unless it's an emergency, you're not having to respond while you're with family or going to bed and other things like that. So do you guys set parameters on what's needed and urgent versus what can wait a little bit?
Absolutely.
Okay.
2-3 years ago, I would have said no, but the way that I joke with our clients as we go into that meeting in the very beginning is fire, flood, or blood. If it's not one of those three things after hours, we're not gonna reach out. It's just not, we've got to have a good work-life balance, and some people may not like that, and those are people, as Jeremy said in the very beginning, we might choose not to work with. So it's just the way that it goes.
Yeah, they kind of weed themselves out, don't they? A little bit.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, maybe quick rapid fire question. Let's talk about reporting. How can operators use data from their process to supplement communication and build more rapport with owner clients? I'm guessing, Drew, yours is going to be the guidebook.
No, actually, so we have separate reports for that. We use some of our pricing systems to actually share the stats with them. And then what we will do, as I said, we use the booking notifications, and we do the same thing with our maintenance summary reports. So if we have a busy week and we know we've got a lot of things going on in a property, we'll just do a quick summary of that, export it, send it to the homeowner so that they understand what's going on. It's always better to communicate prior to them getting an owner statement. We don't want people to, I don't want my staff to dread the middle of the month when we post, because I want it to all be resolved before then.
Love that. That's great. Anybody else? Sheila or Deborah?
Same with us. We report with them, and we actually, one of the things that I'm so excited about is Breezeway, because it has helped our owners be so confident that we're getting everything done in their property that they need to get done. So I would encourage whatever platform like that you use it to communicate with your owners so they can see what's happening in their properties. So they're not left in the dark.
Yeah.
We also send them the reviews, good, bad, and the ugly. And a lot of times it'll make them want to improve their property if somebody's complaining about the beds or something like that. So we have the owner reps send those out as they come through, so the owner can see everything going on.
Love that. Well, and just a quick poll statistic, I guess we got the most popular one is monthly, for communication. So monthly is pretty good. Quarterly, if you can get away with it. Annually, if you can definitely get away with it. And then never, which is a funny answer to see 3%. So let's see if we can maybe next year at the next Elevate conference, we'll see that 3% go down to 0.
Yep.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, I think it's, if you can get away with it, I think it's really interesting, right? That we know that I like this commentary around you don't want to dread the middle of the month. You don't want those sorts of surprises. You want to have this open, not too open. You don't want the after hours calls, but you want this transparent relationship with your owners. Because the ones you want to keep them for a long, long time, right? And you lose them over as much as you can win them for plowing out the driveway, right? Which I love that story. You can lose them over really small things as well. And I think that's really where that's the trick. It's a really tricky balance between the guests and the owners that everybody runs. Fantastic. Some of my favorite people in the industry. It's really nice to see you all. We appreciate you very much. Thank you for being with us, and I hope you have a great day, and we get to see you again real soon. Attendees, jump out of this one, jump into one more. We've got one more session before the breakout rooms, which will also be really interesting. We'll touch on some owner stuff in the breakout rooms as well. Thank you all very much.
All right, that was it. So how to win and influence owners was such an important session. And again, thank you guys so much for having me. Breezeway, the team over there is amazing. So if you enjoyed that session, I think you definitely need to go back. They have all of the other sessions that were recorded available for free. So go ahead, go check them out at breezeway.io, and you can find more on Elevate and everything involving the conference. Again, hope you guys do it again next year. Super exciting stuff and great content that is, so invaluable in this current age of content and growth in our industry. So thank you so much, Breezeway, for letting me do this episode, and we'll see you guys all again next week. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you to our show partners for making Slick Talk, the hospitality podcast, possible. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we would love to connect with you outside of the podcast. So you can follow us on all of our social media channels for daily hospitality content, or find us on slicktalkthepodcast.com. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. I'm your host, Will Slickers, and we will see you guys all again next week.